What I'm going to do in today's session is I'm going to talk a little bit about SAP Business One OnDemand, which is our latest cloud solution for small and mid-sized enterprises. Many of you may have already heard of SAP Business One. That solution has been available in the market for a number of years and has been sold by our partners to more than 35,000 customers all across the world. What we've heard loud and clear is that small and mid-sized businesses are now looking for more from a cloud solution. Traditionally, cloud solutions that handle business management functions have been focused on specific areas. For example, Salesforce automation, perhaps basic entry accounting, timesheet entry, and those kinds of applications. Well, with SAP Business One OnDemand, for the very first time, small enterprises and lower mid-sized businesses will have an opportunity to access the same rich functionality that more than 35,000 customers around the world are using today, but they'll have the ability to access it on demand. Now, when we say on demand, what exactly do we mean? Well, fundamentally, there are two components to an on-demand solution. The first component is being able to access that solution wherever you are on whatever device you wish. And certainly SAP Business One OnDemand gives you that capability. You can access the solution from any platform, on any device, whether you're using a Macintosh, a Linux-based machine, perhaps you're using Google Chrome as your browser, maybe you're using Safari or Internet Explorer, maybe you're using an iPad, an Android device, whatever the case may be, you can run SAP Business One OnDemand on all of those different kinds of machines and different platforms with a zero footprint installation. You simply go to a URL and access the application. I'm going to show you how you do that. But the second component is being able to access the solution and being able to pay to use the software on a per user, per month basis. And we're offering both of those things with SAP Business One OnDemand. The ability to access the application from any device, anywhere in the world, and the ability to pay for the solution on a per user, per month basis. Now, we're working with a number of partners around the world to make the solution available to you. Those partners look after the implementation of the software. They also look after all of the billing and the management of the software. So you can go to one partner, sign up, get access to the application, have that same partner delivering the implementation services around that application, and have the same partner providing the front-end billing services for the back-end infrastructure where your SAP Business One OnDemand is hosted. So why choose an on-demand solution? Well, the reasons are very, very clear. For many organizations, particularly smaller businesses, they're looking for a way that they can easily consume IT applications without having to put into place all the necessary infrastructure. They want to be able to run the latest generation of applications without having to invest in servers, without having to invest in staff to help support those servers and keep everything up and running. This is a traditional reason why customers utilize on-demand solutions. They want to drive down their total cost of ownership. But it's about more than that. It's also about having access to the latest technology and being able to deploy that quickly and easily without having to invest large sums of money up front. Keeping your investment off the balance sheet and being able to expense your investments on a month-by-month basis makes good business sense. So it's certainly about that as well. With SAP Business One OnDemand, you get the best of both worlds. You get access to the leading technology, and you get the ability to take advantage of all of those things that I've just talked about. The ability to expense the costs, the ability to have access to that technology without making major investments in infrastructure and people to keep the system running. So what I'd like to do right now is give you a little bit of a snapshot of what SAP Business One OnDemand looks like. Now, maybe some of you have seen SAP Business One before, Maybe you haven't. If you've seen SAP Business One, the first thing you're going to notice about Business One OnDemand is that the solution is exactly the same. It has exactly the same look and feel as our current product, which is available to be deployed on-premise today. And as I mentioned, we have more than 35,000 customers who've done that all around the world. So let's dive in and we'll take a look. Now, what I'm going to do is right now I'm recording this session here in San Francisco. I'm going to be accessing the SAP Business One OnDemand from a data center in Singapore. Now, again, most customers don't really care where their data is located. However, it is something that you do need to consider. More and more countries are implementing data sovereignty legislation, stating that your software and the data for your business must be located in the country where you are doing business. And again, what we're doing with SAP Business One OnDemand is we are making sure that we reach out and build relationships with the data center providers that can securely and stably offer the SAP Business One OnDemand solution in their data centers. That gives our partners the ability to provide SAP Business One OnDemand to you in the country in which you operate, meeting the local legal requirements of operating in that country. But right now, my demonstration, again, is going to be coming from a data center in Singapore. So what have we got? Well, what you're looking at right now with the screen is you're looking at an example of a front-end customer portal. So when our partners deploy SAP Business One OnDemand and make it available for customers, they will traditionally put up a front-end system that gives you the ability to go to a single web address and go through the process that I'm about to. So step one is to log in. So using my username and password that's been allocated by my SAP Business One OnDemand provider, I can log in. So I'll put that in. And if I want to, I can go ahead and remember my ID. Again, I might only want to do that if this is a private computer that I'm using. Then I'll go and choose Login. The system will validate my username and password, and now I have the option here to use my SAP Business One. I make a single click. The system is just reminding me that it's being delivered securely. I can view the securing certificate if I want to double check that. But if it wasn't valid, Microsoft Windows would tell me that I'm using a security certificate which is not valid. In this case I am, so I'll just go ahead and I'll choose Connect. We'll give that a couple of seconds for it to establish its connection, and then what you'll see is SAP Business One will come up on my screen and it will give me the ability to run the application as if it was, if you like, running from my desktop. All the data is being stored in the data center in Singapore. The programs are running from the data center in Singapore, and all I have to do is access the application. You'll notice there were no components to be installed, nothing to be done other than accessing the web address, and away I go. So the first screen you'll see inside SAP Business One OnDemand is your Choose Company screen. Now, Business One is available in multi-company and multi-language. What does that mean? Well, fundamentally, you can run as many different companies as you want on your SAP Business One OnDemand system. The only thing that has an impact on is the amount of infrastructure you utilize. And that will, of course, potentially impact on your per user per month fee. But your Business One OnDemand partner can talk with you about that and let you know exactly what that is going to cost and how that will impact on your month-to-month operations. I don't get asked for a username and password. Why? Because I've already filled that out in the web-based front end. So now I get access to a list of all the users that I, as a user, have access to. Now, you might only have access to one company. If that's the case, you won't even get a list. It will just take you straight into your single company. But if you're running 2, 3, 5, or 25 companies, you will need to choose which one you want to work with. So I'm going to pick my standard company here. So I'll say choose, and then the system will go in and it will log me in, set all of my data security parameters, and bring me straight into the SAP Business One cockpit. Now, in some of the other demonstrations here on the website, you've already seen how the SAP Business One cockpit works. I'm not going to take you through a series of demonstrations of all the different functionality because you know what? The functionality is exactly the same. What I wanted to show you is how quick and easy it is to launch the Business One application when you're operating in an on-demand environment. So you can see I have all of my modules. They're all available here, exactly the same as you've already seen in the other demonstrations. I have my sales opportunities, my business partners. I have the ability to go ahead and run the campaign management that you've already seen in another demonstration. So that's it. Quick, easy, and simple. When I exit out of the system, again, I exit out and there is zero footprint on my local computer. As a matter of fact, it doesn't matter where you are in the world. As long as you have access to the internet, you can go up to any computer anywhere and securely access your system. Let me show you another way that we can do that. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to log in and I'm going to go to Google Chrome. And you'll see what have I got. If I go here, for example, into my Google Chrome bookmark bar, and I've created a bookmark that already has a URL set up with my SAP Business One OnDemand link. And I've just used a URL shortening solution just to create a quick and simple URL that I can access. I click on the link, it opens up my web browser, and then inside SAP Business One will be rendered and delivered to you inside the web browser. So right now you can see that the user that I'm currently logged on here with, which is passed across in my URL, that user has access to a couple of companies. I'm going to go into this company here, which is my open demo, which by the way, you can have access to, and I'll explain to you how you get access to that in a minute. And then what it will do is it will bring up the SAP Business One application, except this time running straight inside your web browser. So here is my cockpit, the same as what we saw before, and it's going to render the cockpit and all the associated information sitting underneath. So here I have my cockpit. So for example, I'm now able, if I want to go in here and view my sales cockpit. So with one click on my sales cockpit, that will go ahead and it will open up inside my web browser. So here you can see is my cockpit. I'll just say yes to that. That's just a little warning about my security certificate. And now inside the cockpit, it's rendering my dashboard. I have access to all of my open documents. I can see all of my common functions, all the standard functionality that's available to you inside SAP Business One, except in this case, delivered simply and easily inside your web browser. So again, if you're running a web browser on your iPad, on your Android device, on your Linux or your Macintosh computer, you'll have access to exactly the same functionality that you're seeing here. So there you have it. A little bit of an overview, an introduction to SAP Business One OnDemand, and a little snapshot of what the application looks like and how you can access it over the web and inside your web browser.